thing they're trying to ban.
This guy is the best he has ever seen.
Do you hate each other when you fight?
Absolutely not.
The upcoming film, The Smashing Machine, has generated a wave of anticipation and conversation across the movie and sports communities alike, primarily because it is one of those rare projects that merges biographical drama with the raw world of mixed martial arts and does so by tapping into a true story filled with intensity, pain, resilience, and human complexity. At the center of this movie is the life of Mark Kerr, a two-time UFC heavyweight tournament champion and World Veil Tudo champion, whose journey through fame, addiction, and personal battles is not only compelling but deeply human. The decision to bring this story to the big screen signifies Hollywood's growing interest in portraying layered real-life figures, especially those who exist on the periphery of mainstream sports yet have had a massive cultural and personal impact. Mark Kerr's story is about more than just fighting. It's about the struggle for identity, self-worth, and redemption under the brutal lights of the cage and the even harsher judgment of public scrutiny and personal demons. One of the most significant pieces of news that propelled The Smashing Machine into the public spotlight was the announcement that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson would be playing Mark Kerr. This casting choice drew immediate attention, not only because Johnson is one of the most recognized and bankable stars in Hollywood, but because this role marks a distinct departure from his usual action hero persona. Instead of playing the invincible titan who walks away from explosions, Johnson is stepping into the shoes of a man undone by his own choices, addictions, and the intense pressures of a sport that leaves lasting physical and emotional scars. Johnson's commitment to portraying Kerr with authenticity is already being hailed as a potential career-defining move, indicating that The Smashing Machine may aim for a level of dramatic depth and vulnerability that we haven't often seen from him before. This isn't just another tough guy role. It's a challenge to strip back the larger-than-life image and embody a man whose life was as much a battlefield outside the ring as inside it. The project is being helmed by acclaimed filmmaker Benny Safdie, known for his work with his brother Josh on high-stress, emotionally volatile films like Uncut Gems and Good Time. Benny Safdie's solo directorial effort in this case is noteworthy, not just because of his proven skill at creating visceral, tension-filled storytelling, but because this marks one of his first major projects away from the Safdie brothers brand. His signature style, intense, emotionally raw, and often centered around deeply flawed characters, makes him an inspired choice for a film that requires both empathy and unflinching honesty. Safdie has already stated his intent to dive into the psychological and emotional depths of Kerr's life rather than just focus on the physical spectacle of MMA. This suggests that The Smashing Machine will likely place a strong emphasis on character development, addiction, trauma, and the internal unraveling of a man who, despite his physical prowess, was often at the mercy of his own fragility. In terms of production updates, filming is reportedly underway with much of the story being set during the late 1990s and early 2000s, which was a defining period in Kerr's career. This era was pivotal not just for Kerr, but also for the evolution of mixed martial arts as it transitioned from an underground spectacle to a legitimate sport. The movie plans to explore the raw and often unregulated world of early MMA competitions, highlighting the brutality, lack of medical oversight, and the constant physical punishment endured by fighters. This context is essential to understanding the toll it took on Kerr's body and mind, especially as he battled severe painkiller addiction, which eventually spiraled into broader substance abuse and emotional collapse. What's particularly interesting about the film's narrative focus is its intent to explore Kerr's relationship with fame and how that public spotlight became both a validation and a curse for someone who wasn't emotionally equipped to handle it. Another crucial angle the film is said to be covering is Kerr's complicated personal life, especially his romantic relationships and friendships that were tested by his drug dependency and psychological struggles. These human connections, or the loss of them, play a key role in shaping Kerr's journey and will likely form some of the film's most poignant emotional beats. This personal layer is where the movie could distinguish itself from more traditional sports biopics. Instead of focusing exclusively on triumphant moments or career highs, The Smashing Machine seems poised to dissect the darker, messier parts of life that come after the applause fades. These are the moments when champions are most human, When the crowd is gone, the pain meds wear off, and what remains is the quiet echo of trauma, regret, and a longing for peace. By leaning into these vulnerabilities, the film can deliver a more honest and haunting portrait of what it means to be broken not by failure, but by success. From a technical standpoint, a lot of attention is being paid to ensuring the fight sequences feel realistic and brutal. The filmmakers are reportedly working closely with former MMA fighters and consultants to choreograph fights that are accurate to the style and chaos of real early-era MMA bouts. This dedication to authenticity is essential, especially considering that the sport's evolution is part of the story's backbone. The early UFC days were a wild, unregulated experiment, and Kerr was at the center of that storm. The film will likely showcase not just the physical combat, but also the psychological toll of walking into a ring, knowing there were virtually no rules and little concern for long-term damage. That mental state of living on the edge and numbing, the fear with drugs or bravado, is one that Dwayne Johnson will have to tap into with nuance if the film is to strike a chord beyond its action elements. Equally significant is the film's depiction of the media's role in shaping, and sometimes, distorting Kerr's legacy. During his prime, Mark Kerr was often lauded as the smashing machine, an unstoppable force of nature. But that moniker also became a cage of expectations and public identity that Kerr could never escape. The film reportedly explores how media glorification contributed to his psychological pressure and how the very institutions that celebrated him also turned a blind eye to his downward spiral. The juxtaposition of fame and personal decay is fertile ground for compelling drama and will allow the film to comment on broader issues such as mental health in sports, toxic masculinity, and the illusion of strength. Another emotional layer that is expected to play a central role in the film is Kerr's friendship with fellow fighter and training partner Mark Coleman. Their relationship, part brotherhood, part rivalry, was one of the few constants in Kerr's tumultuous life. Coleman has spoken publicly about trying to help Kerr through his addiction, and their dynamic was one of mutual respect, loyalty, and shared pain. If the film does justice to this relationship, it could provide a powerful counterpoint to Kerr's isolation and serve as a beacon of hope amidst the darkness. Stories of friendship amid adversity tend to resonate deeply, and this aspect of Kerr's life could offer one of the film's most emotionally impactful storylines.